welcome to the Cumbria Chamber podcast. Today I'm here with Lindsay Gray, CEO and founder of Natterjack Marketing, and we're going to be discussing the really interesting subject of personal brand and what it can do for your career and for your business. So Lindsay, could you just start off by introducing yourself, please?
Hi, Joe. I'm Lindsay. Thanks for that intro. Yes, I am the CEO and founder of Natterjack Marketing, and we're a digital marketing agency based out of the old bus station in Whitehaven, and that's our home, kind of part-time home because we do work quite remotely as well a lot of the time. So yeah, we're in our 5th year. This is the busiest year I think we've had over at Natterjack. So lots of exciting plans in the pipeline.
Excellent. And you've just told me off air there that personal brand is something that you talk about all the time. Could you just start off by defining for us what actually is personal brand?
Yeah, so it is something I go on about quite a lot. And I think for me, I read this quote and it stuck with me once. It was actually Dolly Parton, and she said, "Find out who you are and do it on purpose." And I just think that summarizes personal branding. For me, it's about who you are, what you stand for, what your truths are, and what your why is, I guess, as well. All of those sort of things. That why do you do what you do? Do you enjoy what you do? What satisfaction does it give you? But then, what does that say about you as well? So does your actions and does everything that you do line up with, what you stand for and who you are?
So it kind of overlaps the business and
Absolutely.
professional and personal sides of your life.
Yeah, I do think so. I think for me, I'm unapologetically Lindsay Gray, and I think if you've ever met me, you understand exactly what that is. I am. I think my personal brand probably is quite strong, and I'm growing into it. I think it's something that develops over time, and it can change as well. That's okay for it to change. I think when you first start out your career, you have, your personal brand is you've been right through school, education, university, apprenticeships, whatever that might be. And over time, it develops out of sort of that very institutionalized educational setting into your professional life. But I do think that if you're true to yourself and you're authentically yourself, that's when you get the best version of your personal brand.
So why is it important to establish a personal brand, and kind of how can that benefit your life and your career?
Really good question. So, I think career-wise, it helps you find out your passions. It helps you find career paths. It can also help you find companies that align with you and your values as well. You'll know yourself. If you've had an interview and there's just something that's not right, something that just doesn't stick, or a passing comment was made and it just makes you feel inside. I think if you know exactly who you are and what you stand for, what your brand is, you'll know very quickly if you align with another organization, if you were going to go for employment with that business. And for us at Natterjack, that's so important. We are a team of characters, and it's so important to feel like you fit in as part of a team, but that you can be yourself and still fit in as well. I think that's really important. And I guess with regards to your career progression, it helps you to sort of understand where you are. So on your journey, everyone's personal branding journey, everyone's career journey is very different. But I think to really fulfill your potential, if you know who you are, you're unapologetically yourself, and you can only ever achieve whatever's meant for you.
It's really interesting. So what are some strategies that people can use to build their personal brand? Is it like writing things down and writing down values that you have and strategies like that?
Yeah, I think it comes from yourself. And I think once you really know, like I said before, what you stand for, if there's something that you just definitely know is a hard no, and it's okay to have those boundaries, and everyone's are different. And I think especially today we're much more aware of that. and the workplace is a lot more flexible, and gives a lot of people that opportunity to find their niche and their stride within an organisation. But things such as really figuring out where you fit in that big massive jigsaw of life. Find out your lane. That's so important. Yeah, my lane's quite chock-a-block sometimes. It's quite full, it's quite busy, and I'm dragging usually a dozen people behind me. But I think a few things that you can do is obviously look to establish an online presence. So really think about the platforms that you use, and do you use different ones for work? Do you use different ones for social media? And then what's the messages that you convey on those platforms? Are they suitable for the people on those platforms? Or are you just putting the same thing on Facebook as Instagram, as TikTok, as Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever? So really think about what messages you put in on those platforms and where you fit. And then obviously to create that content. So if you know that you're going to be, if your passion is for, my passion is for digital marketing in West Cumbria, obviously, that makes sense. And inspiring the next generation of marketing professionals. So you'll see lots of things that I do to try and support that and really back up what I'm saying. I think it's important that to build some consistency in that content that you're creating, and that it's true to you. So really be authentic, be yourself, give it a bit of transparency as well. Don't be afraid to share your opinions on things. If it's a bit controversial, that's totally fine. We're allowed to be different. We're allowed to have different opinions on things. It's just how you present that information.
It's interesting. Yeah, I suppose it's good for businesses as well to kind of encourage their employees to have strong values that they stand by.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And that if they, if the individuals align with an organization's goals and values, and people bring an organization's values to life. It's fundamentally the people that bring it to life. We've all been in big meetings, strategy meetings, where we've defined goals, defined a vision, but it's actually the people that bring it to life. And sometimes getting their buy-in is the most challenging part of that. But yeah, I think to bring it to life it's a human element, absolutely a human element.
I could take it back to the personal note again, if that's okay, Lindsay. How have you kind of used personal brand in your own career? And yeah, how has that helped to get you to where you are today?
Such a good question. Yes, so I think I said before, like I'm unapologetically Lindsay, and I'm learning who she is every year in my career. Yeah, I look back and think, oh my God, am I actually doing this some days? And then other days I'm doing things like this, or I'm chatting in front of a group of school students, or I'm on a leadership course, and it's a never-ending journey. It's constantly learning, constantly developing your skills, I guess, as well. For me, I am, believe it or not, Joe, I am actually quite an introverted person. I'm an introverted extrovert. So I am naturally quite a shy person. As public speaking engagement gives me all kinds of fear. And I don't really know where that comes from, but it's always been the same right throughout my career. I've always had that, oh my giddy aunt, I'm going to have to speak in front of a group of people, and then I get the sweats, I get hot. But the more I've opened up and spoke about it, actually, the more people feel exactly the same. And if a couple of people in the audience know that that's how you feel, they're absolutely rooting for you. So they want to see you succeed, because then that makes them think, oh, maybe if she can do it, maybe I can do it. So I guess, throughout my career, just being myself. I am the worst person for being on time. Never take it personally. I tried extra hard for you today. That is something that I need to work on. It's a part of my personal brand that I'm not particularly proud of. And yeah, it's something that I do know I need to pull my socks up with a bit. But yeah, I think I'm quite a fun, outgoing, energetic kind of person. I've got loads of ideas, and yeah, I think that is who I am. And I think people are starting to realise, oh, that's her, and that's what she does. So yeah.
Yeah, that's so interesting there. You're talking about the kind of perhaps less positive things that can be part of your personal brand. Because I always thought it about like thought of it like kind of all the positive things, but I suppose it gives you an awareness of the things that you're perhaps not as good at, and then if you can be a little bit vulnerable around those things, it is actually makes you stronger and makes your brand stronger.
Totally, absolutely. And listen, I'm not going to be on time for everything. I'm never going to be on time for everything. That's part of my DNA. But I can try. I can definitely try and be. I'm mindful of it. I know it. I know it happens. And it's often because I'm talking, because I'm chatting to somebody, or I've had an idea, or whatever's happened. Like that's usually what's what's happened with my. I like to think. I think I'm a tid's optimist. I think I've got more time than I actually do. But being aware of it is part of the battle, and knowing that actually we've all got little bits of ourselves that we know, oh, that's not our best quality, or that's the bit that needs work. That's okay. That's absolutely fine too. Yeah, it just means you've got a little bit of work to do on something, which is always good.
Yeah, and I suppose we're all on a kind of journey of some
Absolutely.
sort. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I realized that I've jumped around a little bit in this conversation, but I wanted to take you back to you talked a little bit about social media, and yeah, that seems to be having a strong online presence. It seems to be how a lot of people communicate their personal brand these days. If you
Yeah.
think about like some like Stephen Bartlett, like on social media on LinkedIn, he's the kind of king of personal brand, I suppose.
Totally.
Is there anyone else who you think is just a really good example of that?
Oh, yeah, definitely. So I was thinking about this. I was like, oh, who's some really good examples of this? And Gary V as well. Do you follow him on LinkedIn?
No, I don't.
Oh,
Gary
okay.
V.
Gary V. Yeah. So I think he started out, and I might get this wrong, so don't quote me, but I'm sure it was a wine business that his family owned. And I'm sure he took it into being an online retailer. And it's like a multi-million-dollar business now. But he then took his personal brand. So he took the company, he literally elevated the company, but then he took his personal brand, yeah, through the roof when he started sharing his experiences on socials, such as I think he started on YouTube, he did Twitter. It was obviously this was pre-COVID. And then he took to sort of Instagram and LinkedIn. And I was actually just chatting with the guys out there and all the different things that he does. And it's like, oh, is it hot? Is it not? These sorts of topics that he discusses. Is AI hot? Is it not? What's going to be the next big thing? And he's just been super consistent as well. So he's showcased all kinds of skills, and yeah, he's kind of opened up on his business journey and being an entrepreneur, what it's like to be in marketing, how the business strategy's changed over time. Yeah, he's quite cool, and he's super motivational. When you hear him speak, you're like, wow, wow. But yeah, he's done that through being consistent, through defining. He knows his brand, he knows who he is, he knows his craft as well, and he's kind of said, yeah, this is my stake in the ground, and this is what I stand for. And yeah, he's doing all kinds of stuff. You will definitely have seen him. He's often on LinkedIn. I think he's on TikTok quite a bit now as well. He's often on my For You page when I'm scrolling. And then yeah, I'm sure he's had books out. He's had all kinds of different things. So yeah, I would say Gary V, Stevie B. Yeah.
Having a catchy name definitely helps.
Lindsay G, I'm working on it.
Yeah, there you go.
Maybe one day, Joe.
I think the 2-syllable first name and then just the
Yeah.
initials is the way to go. Yeah. Yeah. So you do loads of stuff on social media and LinkedIn. And then you also have your business accounts. Do you feel like I don't know, the Natterjack Marketing and your own brand kind of, are they kind of combined in some way, or do you keep them kind of separate? How does that work?
This is really interesting actually, because I was on a course last week and we were discussing exactly this. So inherently I have my core values and what I stand for as a human. And I ask the question if it's okay for the organisation to have similar values and a similar, that sort of thing as the business owner, as the founder. And we kind of chatted around the table, and it was a strange old dialogue, because actually I think we went round and round in circles, but fundamentally a lot of the decisions are going to come from the top of any organisation. They're going to come from the top and filter down. So for me, I think whilst Natterjack is a being on its own, and there's, you know, Rosie's in the team, we're recruiting another team member, and that will gather arms and legs of its own and develop into its own brand in its own right. So I'm kind of, I think I've just set it off on its journey. I've just been at the top of the big hill and pushing the tumbleweed down the hill. I think that's where Natterjack is. Yeah, I think, set it off on the right path, and you just never know where it might go.
So going forward, how do you kind of keep control of the business and make sure it's still aligned with those values that you had right at the start?
Yes, I think, like I said before, it comes down to the people, and it comes down to the people that you hire and what they stand for. If, you know, if they've got similar values, if they think, you know, if they see things in a similar way. I'm a there's never problems, only solutions kind of person, and so naturally I'm drawn to those kind of people. Whilst my accountant it comes to me the other way. And it's kind of sorry Peter. It's kind of like, it's just having that ability and that belief that actually, you know, we've set this off on this path, and these are the values, these are the things that the organisation stands for, these are the things we believe in, the things that we support, and everyone then kind of can see that vision. It's really clearly defined for the brand. You know what it is, you know where the boundaries are, and I think that's quite important as well, is to be able to say, actually, well, this is just it, this bit here, and this is what we stand for. There's all that noise in the background in the marketplace, but actually what we do is, and what we stand for, is this nice little bit here. We can't be everything to everybody. That's really important to remember that as well. None of us are chocolate. We can't make everyone happy. You know, on the journey, there's gonna be some people we piss off, that we upset along the way. There's gonna be people whose toes we might stand on. There's gonna be, you know, there's gonna be all of that. But then there's also an army of people cheerleading behind you, wanting you to do well. So, that's super important to not lose sight of that as well.
Recently rebranded your business Natterjack Marketing, and the new website and new brand looks really good. Can you talk a bit about that? It's quite an unusual kind of brand, but it's definitely very eye-catching.
That's it. That's exactly it. So we don't do the norm. We aren't the norm, and we needed to up our game and have a brand that reflected that. So for us, we sort of went round and we sat down and we had a really open, frank discussion, Rosie and I, and then with people outside of the organisation as well, because obviously sometimes we're all guilty of it. You can sometimes not see wood for trees, and we're too close to it. So we asked other people's opinions and kind of did a bit of market research on ourselves, which was interesting. We know who our target audience is, and we know who we're trying to speak to, and who our people are. You know, people that we can help, businesses that we can help. We know who they are, and we didn't want our brand to sort of stand in the way or to put people off. We wanted people to feel like they can contact us, that they know what we stand for, that we're a friendly bunch, that we can, you know what I mean, that we're not afraid to laugh at ourselves. We've got a sense of humour, all that sort of stuff. And it was important for us that our brand reflected that. yeah, while still being corporate, we can be very corporate, and we are corporate. You know, we've all got jobs to deliver, and yeah, jobs to do. But yeah, it's got a bit of personality in there, I guess.
It's quite impressive to build a brand that people will kind of remember and kind of think about. You know, how does a business go about doing that?
Time. Time, a lot of time, and a lot of thinking as well. So, and sit with things. Don't be afraid to just say, actually, we need a week or 2 weeks, or we're just going to band this around and see how this would look in different formats. And it's so important as well to not lose sight of, whilst we do live in the digital world, you know, we are digital marketeers. We do still go to physical events. You know, we are still humans. We do have legs, contrary to only ever been seen from the top half up. we do have feet and legs, so we do go to physical events. So it's important for that to be able to transcend onto printed materials. If you know, we'll go into exhibitions or whatever that might be, and really just give it time and start with why, start with your vision, start with your goals, start with your customers. What do they look like? What do they all have in common? Are they similar people? And that having that customer feedback, that gives you an insight more into your business than you probably imagined. So yeah, start with your current set of customers, understand them, survey them, get their thoughts, get their opinions on things, and yeah, you'll be pleasantly surprised, actually.
Yeah, so you're kind of trying to reflect what your customers think of you into your brand. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
yeah.
I might be as bold to say I don't think we've done a bad job.
No, I think it's you've done a really nice job. But yeah, it's because it's a black and white color scheme,
Yeah.
and yeah, there's not many brands that don't use kind of other colors like that. I mean, I think of like Guinness is one brand that they use black and white, and they do it in such a beautiful way, just with those two very simple colors. And yeah, I suppose like the simplicity is what makes it great.
Yeah, that's where the beauty is, isn't it? It's so simple. Yeah. And Guinness is a great example of black and white, by the way. Amazing example. Did you see the one they had for the coronation?
Yeah.
I loved it. I was like, that is
yeah.
just so you. And the one was it at COVID where they had the sofa.
Looks like a Guinness.
Yeah, it looked like a Guinness.
Yeah.
It was a sofa. Just and you know exactly what it is. And that's the power of branding. And you know, we create these brands for companies and for products, but you can also do that for yourself and what you stand for as well. So it's really cool. It's one of my passions. It's something I love. I love getting under the skin of a brand.
Well, I think that's a great note to end on, tying it all together there. Thanks so much, Lindsay, for chatting to us today.
Oh, it's been lovely. Thanks so much for having me, Joe.
Thank you. Bye-bye.